9 p.m. your time. Kids asleep?
No, they should be.
Oh,
I'm a bad parent right now.
damn. Well, we won't keep you too long. Appreciate you doing this,
know,
man.
it's
This
all
is really cool.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Sorry it took a minute.
That's
Any
okay.
like plans like in the future? I just freeze up.
Same.
Like the mayor randomly hit me a couple days ago of Seattle
Okay.
and was like, "Yo, I'm a fan. Like I would love to like get coffee." I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much for the nice words." Like yada yada, and then he was like, "All right, like when are we getting coffee?" And I left the mayor on red for like 3 days.
I
And
mean,
then when someone reminded me today to circle back, I hit him, and he was like, "Yeah." I was surprised that you just left the mayor on red.
He pulled rank on you.
He said I was surprised.
Seattle's in good hands.
Culture operates above politics these days, I guess. It's just, you know, that's funny. I like, do you like to operate where like people throw a date at you and you're just like, be here right now, and you can just say yes to it? Yeah. Okay.
That's the move. I mean, because, you know, in the last decade, I've had my whole life like scheduled for me.
Right. Like planned out.
Yes. Even like with golf, people are like, "Yo, like, do you want to play this week?" And I'm like,
when?
I have no, I can't. I don't know. I don't know what Thursday looks like.
You legitimately don't know.
I don't know. Like I'm bad at it. It's a character defect. I'm trying to get better. It drives the people in my life nuts.
I maintain that. I maintain real quick that like that golf is the thing that made me be on time for the first time in my life. Because like if you're late for your tee time's gone.
Oh, 100%. And when people hit me and they're like, "Yo, I'm gonna be late," I'm like, "What? Like, do you know what it took for me to get here on time?" Like my brother just did this. Like we had a tea time the other day, and he hit me like, "Yo, I'm gonna be 20 minutes late." I was like, "Yo, I cussed out the dog. Like my kids have seen a whole new side of me because of the fact that I wanted to be on time, and you're gonna be late for a tea time? How?
That's sacred.
It's sacred."
Honestly, like when you show up to a tea time, right? And when you show up to a tea time 20 minutes late, you know, your partner's on hole 2 and you're getting there all flustered and you're like,
yeah, you've missed a whole ninth of the experience.
I'll drop one in the fairway and it's like, it's not the same.
Right. Not
Yeah. You can't post that score.
Definitely not.
You can't.
Not going towards it.
So first question for you is requires less of an answer and more of a reaction. So I'm going to set the scene for you real quick. 2012, I'm at Lewis and Clark College. I'm a freshman in Portland, Oregon. I'm not sure if you remember, but that's the same year thereabouts that Thrift Shop came out. Big year for Ben Haggerty.
This is true.
Halloween comes around. Me, a pasty white kid with blonde hair and some Irish jeans, thinks,
"Come on,
I got to pull something together, fellas." I just want you to look at this real quick, and I need thoughts.
Damn. I mean, from this angle, you know, you could tell you pulled that shit together last minute. You know, you could tell, you know, the gym wasn't like a everyday thing for you.
No.
Respect, and it wasn't for me, so that's accurate. But, you know, you killed it. You know, you're in.
Wow.
You have no idea how happy that just made a couple of my friends.
Wow, that's validation.
Lewis and us. Clark, man. Yep. I did a mini show with Lewis and Clark.
Really?
Probably before you were there. Yeah.
Probably. What was your impression of? I mean, growing up in Seattle, being in Seattle, like, you know, Portland pretty well at this point, obviously. But like, what's your impression of that city and that school in particular when you went there?
Lewis and Clark is dope because I don't. It's kind of like in the woods and shit. It's like up in the.
It looks like Hogwarts. Yeah, it's like
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I've done a couple shows there. There was definitely like some really makeshift shows early on. You know, a mutual friend went to school there, so it was always like the plug. Like, yo, we know someone that goes to school here, and they got $500 from their student union, and if you guys drive down here, you can pay for the gas money and make 200. You know, it was like that type of thing.
right.
Damn, so you were grinding early.
I was grinding early. I mean, yeah, for fucking longer than I made it at this point. Yeah, I mean, I was underground rapper forever. And yeah, so the Lewis and Clark thing was it was great. I feel like I made out with a girl like on a car in the parking lot after one of the shows, which was like
On a car.
on the car,
On the
you
car.
know, just like
Yeah.
a quick little makeout sesh, like, and then I like vanished into the night, you know. I probably had another girlfriend at the time, but I was just like, you know, pulled a quick
That's-
one and
That's
rationalized it.
some rock star
Get out
shit.
quickly.
Slinked away
You
into
know?
the night.
It was it was great. Love
Wow.
that school.
Wow. Appreciate it. That's sick. Well, let's talk some golf then, I guess.
Let's start the show.
Yeah.
Just reliving all my glory days of just rounding first base in parking lots at college.
on
And Lewis-
on parking lots.
At the Lewis and Clark parking lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
On that, what are some things that you've learned about yourself since you picked up the game of golf?
I mean, I think it's constantly teaching me shit. And it's constantly you know, it's kind of like life keeps presenting the same challenges in different shapes and forms. And you're like, oh yes, this thing that I've been battling with for the last like 2 weeks, like I remember that this is the same thing that I was going through 2 years ago. Golf is very much like that. And I think, I mean, the biggest and probably the most cliche answer is that golf has taught me acceptance. And I think that there are so many parallels with life and just kind of the cards you were dealt. It's like that shitty lie, that fucking green and red that you finally hit, but you know, it was a false front and now the ball is trickling off. And you know, you finally hit the green and red that you've been looking for all day. And now it's gonna do this to me, and now I'm gonna blade the fucking the wedge over the green into the bunker, and then I'm gonna knock it out of the bunker, and now I'm getting a triple. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's life. That is a reflection of life. That happens. Then you also hit the like crazy kind of half shank that somehow ends up on the green, and you're like, all right, we're gonna take that shit. That's life too. And regardless, you have to play the ball where it lies, or if you're playing in the Northwest, you get winter rules year long. But
Winter rules prevail.
really, it's the like it's accepting life on life's terms. You have to play the ball where it lies, and sometimes like it's not where you want to be. Most of the time, it's not where you want to be, but you still got to hit that shit, and you still got to keep grinding. And I just, yeah, I mean, it teaches me shit every time I play. And it's also being content with the journey. Like, I am not going to ever figure out the game of golf. No one is going to figure out the game of golf. I have like little things. Like right now, I'm really trying to like work on closing the fucking club face on my take back and not being, you know, wide open. Like, that's what I'm working on right now. If I try to take on too much, all of a sudden I forget my natural athletic ability to hit a golf ball, and I'm in my head. It's like, that's applicable to music. That's applicable to parenting. That's applicable to anything that I'm going through. It's right there in the golf course at any given moment. And I just have to accept it and move on and keep showing up.
What percentage of the rounds that you play now do you think that is at the tip of the tongue or top of mind for you? Is just out there for vibes?
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better golfer. So like
So you low-key grinding right now.
I'm grinding every time. and I play by myself more than anything else. Like I'm not like I love to play social golf. I love to go out with the homies and shit, but like I got 3 kids and a dog and I'm trying to finish an album. So like I go out when I can, and you know, like this week I've gone it a couple times. I played like 5 holes. I played 9 holes. You know, I hit 5 iron last night. I'm just trying to get it in where I can. So it's much less about like, yo, let's go out with the homies and play for 5 hours. It's much more like in this duration of time that I have allotted for my mental health, because it is mental health. You know, we're talking about therapy. It is mental health. It gives me some sort of peace to be outside on that golf course, focusing on that golf ball. I'm trying to get better. I'm always working on something, probably to a fault.
And for what? Like, what is the? You said you can't figure it out.
Oh no.
He'll be back.
He was like, "Fuck you guys."
Was that me?
You hung up the phone, man.
Damn, I didn't press.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For what? For what's the question?
For what? You said, you said that, you know, golf is unsolvable. It's ungettable. So what? And I'm not disagreeing with you. I guess it's a devil's advocate question. But like, if you can't solve it, what's the point of getting better? What's the goal? What's the end? Or is it the process?
I think it's the process. I think that it's getting more consistent. It's being able to step up to the tee and being like, I have a general idea where this is going to go, and not, you know, who fucking knows, all bets are off type of golf. And I think that, you know, I've had brief periods of time where, you know, for me, you know, being a 10 and some change handicap, playing 3 years, I've had some brief periods of time where I'm like, I can consistently shoot in the low 80s. And then that goes away. And then you're like, okay, I'm back to fucking 87 right now. And then it's like, ooh, I touched 91, bro. What is happening? And I need to get back out there and figure this out. And that pursuit is so addictive. And I'm an addict. Like I'm a fucking addict for anything. But like that pursuit of getting better, of making progress and getting consistent. And I think it's probably like anything. It's like, you know, motherfuckers that start making money for the first time in their lives, people are like, oh, if I just had like $1 million, like I'd be straight and content and happy. And you're like, yeah, make $1 million. And then tell me you don't want to make 2, you know, and then tell me you don't want, tell me you don't wonder what 5 feels like. And it's like that type of thing is contagious. It's what keeps like people that are worth billions of dollars still in the game. They're like hungry for that pursuit of success. I don't have it as much with money. I would much, you know, I have it much more with like, I can get better at this game if I can just close the club face, if I can just get off my back foot, if I can just, you know, keep thinking, so, you know, less swing thoughts, you know, be present. It's nonstop checklist that I'm trying to like dwindle down to just a single, like, you know, just swing the club, just hold your finish. And I'm not there yet, and I want to get there because it looks fun.
I agree. Holding the finish on a pure iron strike is like,
what a look.
Nothing better.
What a look. The tiger toe? Are you kidding me?
That's what the tour logo is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like Sanaa Lathan holding the 3-point shot, loving basketball.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I could stare at that all day.
Yeah.
Yep.
To be honest, that's the best part about playing golf on camera is no one sees, the camera doesn't know where the ball goes. You just hold the finish and look good, and that's
Speak on
straight. Yeah, I just you know.
Man, I walk by this. I live in an area, LA, where it's pretty artsy, and there's this huge mural of Virgil Abloh, and the quote beside it says, "Everything I do today is for the 17-year-old version of myself."
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, like, he's one of the most creative people that we've ever been graced with.
Mm-hmm.
And as a creative person yourself, I wonder what 17-year-old, we usually save this question, toward the end of the conversation, but I love the time travel. I love the walk with the former self, the younger self.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think 17-year-old Ben was into golf? And what was 17-year-old Ben into?
Malt liquor.
Mm.
A lot of malt liquor. A lot of the same shit, to be honest. I mean, like, I was rapping. I wanted to be a rapper. No golf. Golf closed. But it's actually kind of where, getting into the name. I used to go. I mean, I hate to tell it. I can't believe I even started telling the story, but this is just cliche on every level. But I used to go to thrift shops. I was like staying out in New York for the summer, going to a art school program at Pratt, and I would go to thrift shops and I would get like old plaids and tartans and I would put them on and go out and drink malt liquor in Brooklyn, and best summer ever, fantastic time. A lot of regrets as well, but and in that costume, in this like plaid tartan costume, these old like vintage golf clothes, is where I started calling myself Professor Macklemore, and that was like the alias, and eventually dropped the Professor. And then when the rap career kind of started, I just kept the name with so many syllables that no one can pronounce.
Wow.
So I mean, the 17, I like the 17-year-old, thought to the walk with the 17-year-old. And I mean, I wanted to rap. So like the 17-year-old would be pumped right now. I mean, I don't know if that was exactly the question, but like that's normally that question of like, I would be surprised as hell that I was golfing. Although there was like a brief period in like the Tiger heyday, like 97, where we were playing like the par 3 course for one summer. I wasn't like obsessed, but like we definitely hit that. So like it might not have seemed like so crazy that I got into golf later in life, but definitely not like the way that it is now.
And to take that question a step further, I mean, like if you could, and this is like the question that we ask a lot of folks, is if you could play a round of golf with 17-year-old Ben, what would the conversation look like? What do you think you would talk to each other about? Not necessarily advice, but just.
Damn, that's so like meta in this weird way. Because I think there's part of me that like still really identifies with the 17-year-old that I was. Like I still have the same struggles. Like I didn't know it at the time, but I was an addict. I was an alcoholic. Like, and I think that and I was really struggling in that era, and I didn't know it. And it was actually in Brooklyn at fucking Pratt Art Institute that at the very end, the last day, one of the kids that was there was like he was from Houston. He was sipping lean and gang banging and everything. And I remember telling him like, yo, you got to chill on that lean. Like, that's going to get you or whatever. He's like, bro, the lean, you're an alcoholic. And it was the first time in my life that anyone had said that to me.
Whoa.
And that shit hit. Because I barely did any art. I had to make up like a lie to my parents that like my art got ruined from like a fucking air conditioning vent or something. I made up some crazy lie. And anyway, it was that first real moment in my life of like, damn, I missed out on an experience because of drugs and alcohol. And this was such a dope opportunity to be creative in New York in the summer. And I fucked it up. I tricked it off. And him telling me that. So I feel like I would have that conversation because that led to so much pain for the next like damn near decade. That, you know, and it's not that like it would necessarily be advice, or maybe it would, but like I think that there would be parts of that are like, and I was seeking the truth. I didn't want to be doing it, but I was caught up in the fucking web already. You know, I knew that my highest self, the best version of me, the best artist, the best person, the best friend, all of the best really came when I was clear-headed and when I was sober. So not to go too far into the recovery fucking, you know, into the recovery talk, but that's always been an issue for me. You know, I never had any moderation. You know, I was a blackout drinker like every time. I couldn't stop.
The 17-year-old you wanted to be a rapper, like that was top of mind. Like that was your jam.
100%.
Do you think 17-year-old late 30s, I'm guessing? No?
Yeah.
17-year-old you looking at 38-year-old you, do you think he's looking at 38-year-old like, damn, we did it?
100%.
Like, do you ever have that moment where you're like, hell yeah, like 17-year-old Ben, we did this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had it like 2 hours ago.
Yes.
I had it 2 hours
Talk
ago.
about
like,
it.
Yeah. What was that?
Well, you know, that's a whole nother conversation, but we were in our own fucking therapy.
Offline.
Day of therapy. But no, I mean, like we were, you know, it was anyway. Yeah, the ceiling, you have to think back to like, I mean, I don't know what year it was when I was 17. I don't know. I can't do the math, but maybe it was like
2002.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. And hip hop was really different. It was like we had the internet, but it wasn't like it is now. You know, like MySpace hadn't popped off yet. Like there's no Facebook, there's no social media, to my knowledge at least. And if there was, I definitely wasn't on it. So like underground rap was a thing. Like I feel like underground rap now, like you have like SoundCloud and whatnot, but like still you can blow up off SoundCloud really quickly. Like
O2 was like Source Magazine, Vibe Magazine still.
Yeah, like it was physical. It was
Yeah.
a physical thing. You like went out to the store to get your double XL or your Vibe or whatever it was. And you know, motherfuckers are bootlegging albums and selling them, like you know, burning CDs and you
burning
know,
CDs.
and even in that era, like you might have a computer that burns a CD. It 2 speed, it 4 speed. So like it was way different. The ceiling for me as like as a rapper that wanted to make it was like, yo, if I could just get a show, you know, if I could just get a fucking show. And then it's like I got the show and it'd be like the ultimate peak, the ceiling for me at that age, and even the next probably 5 years was like, yo, if I could pay my bills and tour like 500 cap rooms, I don't even need to sell them out, but that's like the tour. That is the ultimate ceiling. Like that was like the peak epitome of success in my 17-year-old head. So yes, fast forward to today, and I would be fucking ecstatic.
I love that.
Wow.
And I'd probably be like, motherfucker, you got on the radio. You sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the first time you heard yourself on the radio?
Yeah, I was in LA, and yeah, we had like, I don't know what we were doing, but we had the whole van and full of people. I don't know if we were on tour or what, but yeah, Thrift Shop came on the radio, and that was crazy. That was super crazy. And because I never, like, looking back on Thrift Shop, I never thought that was like, I was like, I'm rapping about fucking used clothing. Like this wasn't a swing. This wasn't like, let me take my fucking pop swing on this one. This was like, this was a random fucking song.
A niche hit.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, this is very niche. And so all of that started to happen the video started to go kind of viral, and then like alternative radio started to play it. And I'll never forget, it was like, because we were distributed, I still am distributed through ADA, which is a subsidiary of Warner, and independent, but like under the Warner umbrella for distribution. And Warner was like, yo, like this is actually doing something at alternative radio. If you want to, put up some bread, like we'll work this song to radio. Like you have to spend money to get a song to radio. It's definitely like a pay to play type of thing. And my manager hit me. We were in Wisconsin on tour, and he hit me and was like, yo, this is like doing really well at alternative radio. And now Warner has stepped in and been like, yo, if you put up, a couple $100,000, they will take that song and give it a full campaign at radio. And I was like, whoa. And he's like, I want you to like really think about this right now, because if this works, this will change your life forever. And what you're doing right now, like, whatever it was at the time, like 1,000 cat clubs or something, like it will probably never go back to being the same. Like basically like I'm trading in my like underground rapper fucking pass, and it's
upgrade.
Honest.
I mean, that's a full red pill, blue pill moment.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Wow.
Well said. And it was. And I took whatever pill was like, yep, let's take this motherfucker to radio and spend his paper. And
wow, the Grammy pill.
Yeah. And then it was a couple of months later, and I heard that shit on the radio.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now, I mean, with the accolades that you've had and the success that you've had, what does fulfillment look like for you right now? Just that word, like what does it mean for Ben to be fulfilled right now?
I mean, I love that word, because I think we oftentimes misconstrued happiness and fulfillment. And I think that happiness is this fleeting thing that we're always kind of chasing after. It's this, it's this way that we gauge whether or not like our life is going well, if we're happy. Do we wake up happy? Does our job make us happy? Are we going to bed happy? And like, through the course of the day, like I'm up and down at any given time. There's moments of stress. There's moments that I'm happy. There's moments where I'm fucking depressed, like whatever. Like, and I think that I don't know, is just me or if it's just the normal human experience. But I do know that happiness comes and goes quickly for humans. I love the word fulfillment because it's deeper and it's broader. Fulfillment to me is a spiritual. There's a spiritual component to fulfillment where holistically, how am I doing? Holistically, like, am I showing up for my kids? Am I getting quality time? Not just like getting through the day, but am I actually enjoying, waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning after I was in the studio till 2, and I'm off multiple nights of 4.5, 5 hours of sleep. Am I enjoying, breakfast with my kids? Am I really present for that? Am I showing up to the studio with love and with like, or fear? Do I have faith or fear going into my day? When I'm in a place, to answer the question, when I'm in a place of faith that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, it's just like golf, that like, I might not know why, I'm under the trees again, but you know what? Like, this is where I'm supposed to be right now, and I'm going to learn something from it. Am I content with where I'm at, and know that, like, for me, I'm a spiritual person. I choose to call my higher power God, not tied to any religion, but that's the word that I use. Um, if I'm right in living by God's will and not trying to force shit, that's when I find fulfillment. When I'm of service to other people, when I show up, when I'm a part of a community, when I realize that this whole thing is so much bigger than me, that I'm just a conduit, and let me play my position, whatever position that is, I'm going to run the route, even if it doesn't make sense. That's when I find fulfillment. That's when I feel connected. That's when my purpose feels crystal clear. When I start getting too much in my head, when I start trying to make shit happen that wasn't meant to happen today, or, you know, I get back into that place of, oh, what if this doesn't pan out, or this dude's a dick, or whatever it is, trying to control people, places, and things, that's when I get off track and that fulfillment dwindles.
That's like the true walk of meditation. It's presence. It's, you take the good with the bad. You walk the walk no matter what. You're showing up as yourself. But also, I mean, I hear you. I hear you mentioning, you know, your family. It's really important to you. And as someone that is, you know, highly creative, you know, you've got your hands in a lot of pots. Your family being one of them. You know, how much do you put into what you do as a parent, as a the leader of your family, and into your, like, what are you trying to impart onto them as you're walking your own journey as a creative person, as an artist, as a golfer, as Ben?
What does impart mean?
Teach.
Yeah. Sorry, I cheated a lot in school.
Same. You're amongst friends here.
Well, definitely my wife is the leader of the fucking family for sure. So I play a distant, you know, background role to her, but
damn. He was like, I didn't like that question.
Oh man, Connor, I'm sorry you have to clip a couple things here.
That's okay. This is so good.
it's Wi-Fi, bro.
We've
So,
been
yeah,
there.
I was saying that my wife is definitely the leader of the house, but in terms of like the kids, I mean, I'm trying to foster, for me, like I'm realizing that I'm not going to be like necessarily the homework dad. I'm not going to be like my, you know, because I cheated a lot in school, like once Sloan hits probably like second grade, like it's a wrap for me on helping her with math. Like I'm like, I don't know, I'm done. But, and I'm also not just trying to be like the fun dad, like let's go get ice cream, you know, like I'm not trying to be that dude either. I think that I want to be an emotional support to them. I want to foster creativity. I want to get them outside. I would, of course, love at least one of my kids to pick up the game of golf. To me, that's like the ultimate goal at this point. So, like, you know, I got a 7-month-old son, and you know, I mean, it's really just a finesse to be able to watch Golf Channel all day long. But like, you know, I'll put him in his little chair and be like, you know, tell everyone in the house that like I'm doing this because he likes to watch golf, which is a straight lie. But
he told me so.
Yeah,
exactly. But I think, you know, I want my kids I want my kids to be fulfilled. You know, like I want my kids to find that true grounded center and figure out who they really are. And I know that that's going to be a journey. And like, you know, I you know, it's like today, it's like my daughter cut her hair, 6.5, almost 7-year-old daughter cut her hair short. Looks cute. All of a sudden she thought it was cute for like 2 days. And this morning she's like, yo, can I talk to you? And she's like in front of the mirror and she's like, I hate this. And I'm so mad at myself that I did this.
Wow.
And she's like banging her chest. I'm like, yo, this is intense. It's like fucking 7:30 in the morning. The caffeine hasn't kicked in yet. And I'm like, yo, it's just like a moment. Okay. Like what are we doing here? And I'm like, I think some of the greatest advice is just to like hold that space and be like, yeah, you know, I've been there. I trust me. I've had some horrible haircuts. I used to go supercuts. None of them motherfuckers knew how to fade at all. And I used to come home crying from supercuts. But I'm also like, you know what? And I, you know, I'm not getting tears in my eyes over a fade these days, but like, you know, a bad fade will fuck you up. And I'm like, I get it firsthand. And one thing that my mom always told me is it's just hair and it's gonna grow back. And you have to get through this little period. You might love it later on today. But the most important thing to me is that we're not just focusing on ourselves, because that is where the misery lies, right? Like me, my hair, my shit. How are people looking at me? Are my friends gonna clown the hair? You know, whatever. It's like instilling that, like, let's get outside of self right here, because like that self-centered tendency is like, I identify with that, you know. When I got the bad fade and I got to be on stage, I'm like, damn, like there's gonna be some trash pictures out there on Getty Images. But so I don't, you know, in terms of parting on my kids or whatever that word was, like I'm just trying to hold space, to be creative, to get in the trenches with them in terms of like, you know, let's make art. Let's not judge the art, you know, because you watch that judgmental mind develop really early in terms of like, oh, it doesn't look like the picture. It doesn't look like the thing that I'm trying to draw, or like, and then I'm bad. Yeah. I'm not a good artist. And it's like, no, like that negative self-talk is what stops people. It stalls people from pushing through. And it's like, I've always said, like, my mom was one of those moms that was like, you know, like, oh my God, Ben, like you could do anything. Like, look at his picture. Like, isn't he the sweetest? Like, yada, yada. I mean, still, I was just with her like an hour and a half ago, and she's still just like, you know, I can just tell she's just like, my son's the shit. Like, look at how nice he is. Like, he's good at talking to old people, you know, like whatever. And like, and I had that sense of confidence from my mom, who just gassed me all the time. And I think that can go two ways. It can present a sense of like false confidence, but for me, it was like, I just believed in myself. I wasn't, you know, I've never been the best rapper. I've never been the best artist. I've never been the best video director. I've never been the best photographer, any of that shit. But I believed in the process. I believed in myself. Even at times where I really was garbage and I probably shouldn't have, I still believed in myself. And I think if you can install that in your kids, and it's harder now than it was when I grew up in like the 90s, because you have the internet, which is an immediate fucking feedback loop of like, you know, you get trapped in the like, damn, like look at what they're doing. Look at what she did. Look at what he did. Like, I can't do that. Or like, here's my art. And then like fucking people are in the comment section like, oh, it's horrible. Like, you know, commit suicide, put away the pen, like, or whatever it is. And like, that's a really toxic environment to be any person that's a creative, but particularly a young person who's trying to form their creative identity.
Yeah.
I don't get how you would make it. Like, you have to have such unbelievable thick skin to make it nowadays, to stomach every single piece of that criticism, because the culture has been completely flattened onto a little fucking screen that you can be like, no, and worse, and way worse, to like the haiku that you write in the form of a tweet.
Yep.
I wonder how you deal with fear and the prospect of failure, and how you define what failure looks like. And I'll just say really quickly that something that I'm trying to work on for myself this year is to remove fear of fear. And we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before, but I think for a long time I was afraid of fear and putting myself in scary situations for a long list of reasons that I don't need to get into. But what I'm trying to do this year is put myself in more uncomfortable situations to see what I can produce and see what comes out of those uncomfortable situations.
Right.
And I'm wondering, because you seem like such a confident person, and obviously you said that was instilled in you from such a young age. What fear looks like in you? Is there that niggle in the back of your head that's like,
what did you call me? I had to. Got that.
Is there that thing that's in the back of your head that's like, don't do this. Don't do this. The repercussions are enormous. You'll fall off the pedestal, especially being at the height that you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, fear is part of the process. Like, there's very few people that I could think of. In watching that Kanye documentary, I'm like, maybe that motherfucker really never has been afraid. But maybe besides him, like, it is a part of the creative process. Like, it just is. And how much, and what are you doing to offset that fear that naturally comes up? And that's where I think, your question about fulfillment, it ties back into that, because when I'm doing everything that I can to be the best version of me, fear dissipates. When I'm putting in the work to connect to a place of faith, the chance of fear seeping in is lessened. And it's not that it doesn't pop up, it does, but fear is insidious. Like, fear is one of those things that you're like, you'll live with that motherfucker your whole life and not even know it, because it's just constantly part of you. And if you don't quiet the mind, if you don't get to a place of getting centered, if you don't remember like what's important and what's not, and have some sort of reset capability, people live with fear their entire lives. I mean, I look at so many people that gave up on their passions because they just were fucking afraid, man. Like, they didn't want to fail. And I think that that's a big part of it, right? And it ties back in with parenting too, because no one wants to look like they don't know what they're doing, right? I think it's what prevents, like, from my wife from trying to play golf. She's like, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
And the first time she swung a club, she piped the driver like 170 down the fairway, and I was like, yo, and then like duffed the next three, and she was like, I'm done forever. Like,
that's real.
And I think that's like a metaphor for life. Again, it's like, we're so scared of looking stupid, of fucking up, of like, doing it in front of other people, or how we'll be judged. Like, it's another thing about equating this to golf. It's like, yo, in the end, no one really gives a shit what you shot. They are thinking about their own scorecard.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares. As long as you're keeping up pace of play and not fucking up their experience on the golf course, they don't care what you shot. They are thinking about themselves. Like, we're, and of course we're obsessed with like celebrity culture, and everyone's still talking about like Will Smith smacking Chris Rock and all that shit. But like, it's like, really at the core of it, like, we are all going to die. What we have a finite question mark, who knows how long amount of time left on this earth. Why not shoot the shot? You have like the Michael Jordan quotes about like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, or whatever he said. It's like, those things like might be commonplace on like inspirational Instagram pages, but like, the truth is, it's real. Like, what do I have to lose? And I think even, trying to finish this album, like, that I'm working on right now, it's like, I'm trying to get a couple features that, might be stretches that are hard to get a hold of the management. And I'm like, yo, I might just have to go get on a plane and pull up in Atlanta and figure it out. Like, the old hustler version of me would have done that. Like, what's preventing me from doing that right now? Like, my ego, my pride. Like, my wife's like, go do it. You know how to do it. You've done it before. And I think it's those moments that separate the people that are watching from the sidelines and the people that are in the fucking game.
Yeah. Fear can be a powerful motivator too. I mean, fear of not finishing this album could drive you to pull up at Thug's crib and be like,
who'd you say?
Thug.
Yeah. That is who it is too. That's who it is.
I know what's up. and be like, "What's up, man?" Like,
yeah.
And he, truth is,
well, he'll listen to this and he'll be like, "Oh, okay, got it."
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is why I did the podcast.
Right.
I was like, this is my way to thug. I know it.
Yeah.
High key, he would probably do that shit too.
Yeah, I know. But I have to get to him, and I have to make that shit happen.
We're gonna. I swear to you right now, we're gonna throw up the fucking bat signal as soon as we're done recording.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It would be tight if I didn't have to go to Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, I got family you can stay with too. Like, we don't even worry about it, bro. Like,
there was something I wanted to fucking say. Shit.
But you're talking about fear being a motivator.
Yeah. I mean, the point was to get Thug on the album,
right?
But
right. Yeah, fuck all that other shit.
How much do you think about death? You brought up our finite time that we have on this earth. How much do you think about that?
I think about death a good amount. It's tough to quantify it. I think that I think specifically as an artist, and specifically as and this might, I might be off base here, but I think as an artist with a platform, but I think for all of us, like, what do you want your legacy to be? And what do you want to leave here? Like, and this kind of gets back to like another, how do you spend your time? Like, who are you actually reaching out to? I think it's so easy to get really fucking busy and miss out on the life that's like right in front of you, trying to chase some other shit. And I was thinking about it a couple hours ago. Everything was a couple hours ago, but it was. And we were talking about service, being of service to others, and how it's the quickest route to get outside of yourself is to help somebody else. It's like it's like the secret to fulfillment that's right in front of us all the time. Yet like everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Like, let me keep pursuing on the path of like me, miserably. But I have a friend that just did a long bid in the penitentiary, in the feds, and I was like, we were talking about, because I've done a lot of work in jails throughout the years, and we were talking about that, and I'm like, fuck, dude, he's been out for like a minute now, and I haven't even gotten lunch with him, like, and I've just been busy, right? But I just been busy. But I did play 9 holes yesterday, and I did make time for such and such because that was advantageous for this deal that was going to happen, or like, whatever. But I haven't even showed up for the homie that hasn't been home for like 8 years. And I haven't even thought about him. And that shit scares me kind of. That's like a reality check of like, yo, how present are you actually right now? Are you really here? Are you really thinking about the other people? Or are you just on this pursuit to get the fucking Young Thug feature and you're sad because you can't get it? I have no idea what the question was, or even if there was one.
Talking about death.
Yeah, no. Talking about death, and that made no sense with death.
Sure did.
Well, I will say this, but okay, legacy, that's where it ties in.
Yep.
At the end of it, I'm like, I would so much rather have my legacy be tied to what I left behind for other people, not just like making sure that like the little white girls upstairs are straight, but like actually like making sure that the community is straight, and the people that like inspired me to be the person that I am, and the community of hip hop that raised me, and making sure that that legacy is passed on to other people that are coming up, particularly people that don't have access to a fucking studio, whose parents can't be like, oh, I'm going to buy you the microphone if you can save up half the money like I did. That's really important to me. And we're doing that work. We've been doing that work for a long time, but it could be fucking better. You know what I mean? Like I love designing clothes. I love what we're doing with Bogey Boys, but like it's one of the reasons why I want to get in the podcast. I'm like, yo, it's super important to tap in with the golf community, not just in my own little insular bubble, but be able to talk to people that are doing interesting shit with the sport. Like we're talking about growing the game. Like you have to show up to grow the game. You can't just grow the game on your own fucking, laptop with the people that you're trying to figure out how to make a really nice athletic polo with. So in terms of death, I absolutely attribute that to legacy. And that comes back to fulfillment of what I'm doing with my time on this earth. And I want to leave behind some systems in place that give people an outlet, a platform, a sanctuary, whether that's like, whether that's the residency program that we have for the youth and growing that, whether that's something with the game of golf, something around recovery and drug addiction. Those are all things that I want to do before I die. But if I don't focus, if I don't plan it out, and I'm just pursuing the bag, or I'm just pursuing like the feature, or I'm just pursuing the tour, or I'm, whatever, I'll miss out on those core pieces that I do think I would be fucking bummed if I died and didn't pull off.
Trying to squeeze all the juice out. Got see what can be squoze.
Squoze.
That's legacy talk. Like that reminds me of this Wayne quote I saw the other day. He's like, man, it takes me like 7 weeks to write a verse because I've said so much shit. Like he's squeezing it out.
Yeah, he's close.
That's what I hear
really?
you saying
right
now.
Yeah, he was like, I have to make sure I don't say the same thing twice.
You gotta make sure he doesn't say the same thing twice.
He's like, I might plagiarize myself.
Right.
Damn, that gives me less hope for the Wayne verse, which was second to the Thug verse.
No. Damn it.
I hope you don't have a deadline. Go ahead, C.
Go for it.
We haven't really talked about your involvement in the golf space, but I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'm a 33 in the Dalmatian pants, so man, I'm fairly tapped in with the golf community.
Yeah,
and Bogey Boys is like it's hot, like it's hot, and at times it can be polarizing. And there's a question in here, I promise you.
We're taking the scenic route, the official TM scenic route.
There's playing devil's advocate to we're four straight dudes, assuming straight dudes on this pod right now. There's Bogey Boys talks about, we're talking about the boys. And so much of the conversation in golf is like, yeah, Saturdays we're out with the boys, playing around the golf with the boys. I would love to see Bogey Boys come out with a bogey girls line, a unisex bogey golfers, bogey them, bogey them, bogey him, tour them. What's the creative runway there with Bogey Boys? Is there a conversation about that?
Yes. I think the answer is that the clothes are unisex. I think that
most clothes are anyway.
Right. So I don't, it's just the name. I think, we've absolutely had the conversation. I think that, if we're talking about like making all people feel a part of, then I think it's, if that's off-putting to anyone, like I get it, like this isn't for me. I'm not a boy, whatever, we're at that day and age where we're really scrutinizing gender, which is a great conversation to have, you know. So are you saying is this why Bogey Boys is polarizing in terms of the hot conversation or whatever?
Yeah. But I mean, if we're really unpacking it, like clothes are unisex. Like gay black men drive the culture and trends in fashion, period. So so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But the conversation most are having is about the name. But thank you for clearing. Again, I'm a 33 in the Dalmatian camp.
I'm gonna look, bro. I'm sure I got a couple Dalmatians left over in the basement somewhere. No, I mean,
that
I
wraps
think
up the pander section.
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the name came, I mean, in a way it was very similar to you know, more thought than actually my stage name, but it came from just fucking around one day on a golf course. They're like, hey, we're the Bogey Boys. Like, hey, Bogey's a new par. You know, we're just fucking around making up shit. And fast forward till now, it's like, yeah, this is a big part of my life and a fantastic creative outlet. Like I always wanted to design clothes outside of just designing clothes in the merch space. You know, I wanted to make something. Like I'm never going to wear, you know, my fucking stage name on my chest. Like I would just never do that. But like I love making golf clothes where I'm like, this is something that I don't see, and I love this piece. And there's a lane for it. And I quickly after starting to play, I'm like, man, like I hate going into Dick's Sporting Goods and trying to put together a fit. Like
sucks.
That's because you
it
can't.
sucks.
Look like a 2-pack of ass.
Yeah, straight up. And going into most pro shops, it's like this is tough. And you look at the players on the PGA Tour and like, you know,
Speak on it.
I got a lot of respect, of course, for anyone that's ever made it to you know, fucking any tour.
Sure.
But what they're kind of like boxed in to have to wear,
what they're given to wear.
Yeah, what they're given to wear. I'm not inspired by it.
Yeah.
I'm not inspired by it. And you know, that's no shade to anyone. I've since become cool with a lot of people in the golf apparel space. It's no shade to anyone specifically who's outfitting a PGA Tour pro. But you're also having to, like, you know, at the end of it, it's a business. It's like, it's, you know, and if you're looking at golf as a whole and, you know, the real estate agent, 33-year-old white guy that, you know, is like, you know, playing the game that makes up the majority of the game, whatever, or like the older dude who's played as whatever the situation is, like it's been for the most part a sport that has catered to a certain type of person.
Republicans buy sneakers too.
Right. And and so if you're trying to sell and your bottom line is like, you know, we're trying to make money here, then I get it. There's a reason why you go to websites and you're like, God damn, I would love to spend some money on the internet right now, but I can't find a polo that's worth, you know, $80. So, yeah, I love the design process of it. And it's just been hella fun. And it's been hella fun to get to see the reaction of people. And, you know, it's one of those things that I feel like if I didn't have a big family and a career and a rap career and actually just like the game of golf that I like to play more than anything, I could really kill it with Bogey Boys. It's already,
we know you could.
You're
already killing it.
It's already happening. And we are, but I'm like, I see the potential of it, and I appreciate that. But I do see the potential of it. But it's just hard. It's hard to juggle it. Like, you know, this shit takes a lot of time. Like, these companies have like big ass teams. You know, fucking 10, 15, 20, 50, who knows how many people designing clothes, you know, producing clothes, manufacturing it, sampling it overseas, waiting for it to come back. Like, I didn't know all the moving parts of it until we got into the trenches. And it's like, oh yeah, this is a job. And everyone on my squad already is wearing 4 different hats.
Right. But you already are killing it. And I think like simply because you, Ben, and actually even more importantly, you, Macklemore, at the level that you are at, are showing people that they can wear whatever they fuck they want to wear when they play golf.
Yeah.
And that is offering an alternative that, unless you're in this like weird little Instagram hipster golf community that we, the 3 of us, are sort of nebulously in, you might not know. You might not have the education to be like, oh, wait a second, I don't have to look like, you know, call center chic every time I go to the fucking Muni. Like, I don't have to wear my dry fit moisture wicking polo every time I go to the driving range. What?
Yeah.
And that is an act of service.
Amen.
So I guess if there is a question there, it's like, we talked about legacy, but what do you feel your responsibility is in golf?
I want to introduce the game to as many people as I possibly can. I want to shift that narrative, that archetype that I just described, where like by the time I'm dead, and this has nothing to do with me. It's more just like I want to be a part of it. None of this is like, I mean, let me show here. This white guy's a good white guy. I'm going to show that like we need to grow. It's like, no, it's not that. It's more like, how do we shift how do we open up the seats at the table? And that's not just like, you know, I think it's really easy to be like, you know, hey, call up the black homie and put him in a polo and be like, look, we're growing the game. It's like, no, that is, you're just using black people still. Like that's not growing the game.
We see right through that shit. Let me just tell
absolutely.
You.
It's like, yeah, it's like, okay. And you watch it with the fucking PGA, you watch the, you know, in Black History Month, it fucking spikes for the month of February, and then it goes back, you know, and you're like, oh man,
we can tell you some stories offline.
Yeah, this is tough to watch. And like, it's more like, okay, and this goes for not just golf. We're talking about opening up the seats at the table, and not just like how we can use people of color to appear a certain way or to appear that we care. We're talking about actually like, yo, we want to grow this from the top. So the people that are in positions of power, we need to leverage that power so that we all have these choices. We all have that decisions. We need to bring people up. It's like Virgil had some sort of quote that was like, you know, if you're blessed and privileged enough to get to the top, to get to the penthouse, you better send the elevator back down and make sure that you bring those motherfuckers up from the bottom. And to me, again, talking about legacy or talking about growing the game, how are we making sure that golf is hella expensive? Like, golf is dumb expensive. How are we, like, even going to a Muni, it's like, damn, it's like for a junior rate or whatever, it's like, it's still $18 and I still got to have a golf club and I'm still about to go spray some golf balls because I've never had money to pay for lessons. You know, all of a sudden I'm out $50 for 5 hours and you don't have any money. So how do we offset that? And you look at, and I think that there's obviously great organizations that are doing the work, that have been doing the work for a long time to grow the game. And I think it's dope. You know, I was talking to Cameron Champ's dad and what him and Cameron are doing. You know, I know they brought Q out before. There's people that are trying to bring golf. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were in South Central. Like they were, you know, they're trying to grow the game in areas that have never seen anyone play golf before. Or like, you know, at best it's just driving by, but actually like, yo, come to the range, hit a bucket of balls. And I guarantee you, once you hit one remotely pure, you're going to be hooked. And once we get you to that point, then come on, let's go. We got you. And you don't have to worry about, you know, greens fees and figuring out how to get a set of clubs.
Yeah, Connor, I love how you brought all that back to service, because I've heard you say, you know, you are a guest in the house of hip hop, and it looks different in golf. You look like what most people who are in golf, you know, feel comfortable around.
Right.
But you bring something with that. Like you bring the hip hop with you too, wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear you saying, you know, you're looking at the upper levels, and you're looking at how accessible we can make it at that level. When Connor asked the question, you know, what I forget exactly how you worded it. What is your responsibility to golf, or what? That I see that in what you're doing, and I appreciate it, because there may not be those that understand everything on the music side. They may not understand what's going on with the fashion and the golf and the clothing side, but you have a purpose and you have an intention, and that's clear. And I'm glad that we unpacked that. And with that, I think it's time to get into some meat and potatoes. Where are you from?
Quick hit questions.
You from Pacific Northwest?
Seattle. Yeah.
Seattle. So you're at I hope to see you at Pebble Beach Pro-Am next year.
Every year until they kick me out.
Good.
That is blocked on the calendar.
That's Super Bowl week
until they don't give me the invite.
So you win 2023. You're hosting the dinner, the championship dinner for next year. You're inviting Q, you're inviting Alfonso Ribeiro, you're inviting Patrick Mahomes.
Group golf therapy.
You're inviting group golf therapy, and we're all at your dinner table. What are you serving us? What's on the menu?
Oh man, well, you know, my favorite meal is chicken and waffles.
Come on.
Candied yams. Maybe just some steamed broccoli. Like just because you have
aside with all that,
you have to have a green.
Okay.
Just because you have to, I guess. But you don't really eat that part.
You just
you don't have to. It's your dinner.
Basically, I'm just gonna kind of like replicate the Carol C special at Roscoe's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's my meal. That's my meal. I mean, you could, some biscuits in there. That's my favorite. That's what we're serving. That's what,
Wow.
That's a celebration.
That is a celebration. That's a win. That's a champion's dinner.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, are you going to be at Augusta this year?
No. Which just kind of like dawned on me like fairly.
But he might be in Atlanta.
Hey.
That's a great idea.
Yo, roll through. I'm just asking because I'm going to be there for the first time ever.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Have you guys been? Has everyone been?
No.
You guys going?
No, Connor's.
God, no.
Just Connor?
Connor's doing it.
I've never been before. This is the first time.
Bro, when I walked out from the area where they let us in at, and for one, Augusta is huge.
Yeah.
It's fucking big. Like,
right.
There's a reason why there's like, 100,000 people that can like attend this tournament or whatever. Like, it's massive. And when I walked out, a little amen corner, hole 13. And I was just kind of like in my zone. I wasn't, I was just thinking, I got goosebumps just even talking about it. I'm walking out and I hit that little right with my eyes and I saw all the flowers. I'm talking about colors that you didn't even know were colors. A vibrancy, a saturation that you didn't even know existed. Grass. That grass Like it was like this plush carpet of perfectly manicured grass. Like I'm not talking about like, oh, I went to a really nice country club that my like homie belongs to, and like, yo, it was crazy. Like, no, not that type of grass. I'm talking about grass that you have not seen before. At least me, I hadn't seen it. Oh my God.
And that's coming from the
Wow.
PNW, famously green.
Famously green. This is different. This was like they don't let a motherfucker walk on this grass vibe.
Right.
And,
Earth had her titties out that day.
Yes, that shit. And then this was last year, so this was the COVID year, and this is at 25% capacity. I don't know if hopefully we never go back to that, but I'm glad that I got to watch the Masters in person at 25% capacity.
It's probably the purest experience you could get at the Masters right now.
Yeah.
I mean, besides Tiger playing, he wasn't playing.
Right,
But
right.
outside of that, I mean, you're just right.
Wow.
You're right there. You get to be wherever you want to be and see everything.
I'm glad we recorded that because that was beautiful. That's like meditate to that. That was amazing.
For real.
Put that in a song.
Put that on a shirt. On the sensory experience wavelength, what are some of your favorite golf smells?
I mean, I'm trying to think of an answer that's not grass.
Mm.
And I don't have one.
We're developing candles, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fire. I love that. I mean,
we'll send you one.
When you hit like the tee box on one and you get that little breeze and you smell that freshly cut grass, God, I don't know if there's a better smell. And you got 18 in front of you. Who knows who you're going to be that day? Who knows who's showing up?
Yeah.
All the possibilities.
Yeah.
God. Not even
Can
sure
feel
about
it.
numbers.
Be
just
that
like,
day.
Can feel it.
Let me just be here right now. Let me just swing this club. Are you guys all really good at golf?
No, we're terrible.
All right. Yeah.
Like, what's everyone's handicap?
We're fine. I don't know. I don't keep one.
Yeah.
7, 6, 7,
5.
Yeah. You and I would hang out together. I'm around a 10.
Mm-hmm.
We all played D3 in college, but like not saying much at all. Like losing club, it's like there's no athletic program.
Nah. Yeah. We were like the fifth man.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the time on the golf course where you have laughed the absolute hardest?
We were in Norway and found a course, public course, tucked off in the hills of Norway. And I don't know, we were in some cutty little town playing a festival. So, when I was in Europe that summer touring, this is my year 1 of playing golf. So, I mean, it hasn't stopped. Like the obsession hasn't stopped. But at this point, I'm like, yo, every day I'm waking up right away. And the first thing I'm doing is finding a golf course. I've already found it the night before, but like I'm going to go play. So I find this golf course, play 18. Beautiful day, get paired up with 2 like Norwegian men. I'm an introvert to the point of if I can choose like me and my homie or like me and 2 random dudes with the homie, like I'm definitely like, let's keep it to twosome. I don't need to play with strangers. This was like a Saturday. They're like, you're going out with these 2 randos. And immediately I'm like, become best friends. The Norwegian dudes are super cool. We're all spraying the ball everywhere. It's fantastic. Finish the round. I have a show. I have a festival. And I play the festival. It's like an early festival. I go on at like 7. I have an hour set. 7 to 8. Finish a set. Immediately I'm like, yo, we got to go back. Now, granted, this is Norway. sun is not set until like midnight at this point in the summertime. We strike back to the golf course and we get in another 18 or just about on the 17th hole. The other two guys that were with the homies, golf cart dies. And it's pitch black dark at this point. Like just off of pure like delirious, like I've just played 36 holes. It's midnight. I've just done a festival. Just
it's just all feel.
Uncontrollable laughter as this golf cart is dying, and we have like a good probably like 2 full holes to push a golf cart.
Wow!
At least you brought it back though. Damn.
Hey, we brought it back, man. You got to bring it back.
Wow.
But that was just one of those golf moments where I'm like, this game has got me.
That was year one.
That was year one. That was like month 7.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. When was that? When did the golf bug bite you?
Right away. Yeah, I got dragged out day after Thanksgiving, and we were in Hawaii, and I found a fairway bunker, and I had been spraying the ball all over. I'd hit multiple houses, like the whole shit. I'm like, I'm gonna get sued. This game's trash, but like, let's keep playing. So I was trying to beat my brother. He said that he was a bogey golfer. This motherfucker has not shot bogey ever, but I find a fairway bunker and grab the 5-iron, and I just pured it, and it was like, boom. What is that feeling? What was that? And I want that again and again and again and again. It was just that, like, it was that moment. It was a wrap. I was like, I'm going to fucking Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever it was, and I'm buying like the first set of clubs that I possibly can.
Yes. There's something that seems serendipitous in your investment in 5-iron golf facility now.
Yeah, right. And I fucking hate 5-irons, like the actual club. Like I can't get my 5-iron.
I took mine out the bag.
Yeah, me too.
I don't like it.
I put it back in for like punching out, but then I got a 2-iron. I'm like, yo, the 5 can go. I don't play with a 5-iron. I can't hit a 5-iron.
It's weird. Yeah.
Both you guys same?
Yeah, I don't play with 5-iron either.
That's crazy. Usually people are like, oh, I love my 5.
Yeah.
No, nobody loves their 5.
My 4 is the ride or die, though. The 4 is like, that's the utility club.
See, I don't have a 4.
No, I don't have 4.
I just got one more for you, but Brad and Drew, feel free to round it out. I'm curious, do you have any... I hesitate to use the word goal, but is there anything that you hope for yourself in the coming year with regards to your mental health? Any practices that you want to implement? Any behaviors you want to double down on? Any behaviors you want to roll back?
I was really hoping that you were going to be like your goal for golf in the next year.
We can hit that too. We can hit that too.
I'm like, oh, we got to talk about fucking my own mental health shit. No. It could just be like the stress from trying to finish this album. Like finishing an album is horrible. It's like the worst part of that. The creative process, hands down, is finishing. It's like, you're trying to get the last minute features. They're like impossible to track down. You're like, all of a sudden you're like, why is this so hard? The self-doubt kicks in. You're like, and then you throw in a pandemic. You're like, yo, we've been camping on so much of this music for way too long. Like this motherfucker would have been out and I wouldn't have had to second guess all this shit had this not have happened, yada, yada. And I don't know if it's just because I'm in that, like the throes of trying to finish this thing. But I've been fucking angry lately. Like I've been pissed. And then it even translates to the golf course. Like I'll be like, I'll hit a bad shot and I'm not like super vocal, like pissed off golfer guy. Like, I can turn it over pretty quick, but like usually that's my sanctuary. I say the golf thing because like usually I'm out there and I'm like, okay, I'm letting all the music shit go, and I'll be out there and I'm like, I'm still fucking pissed. So I need to kind of address that. I don't know what that is exactly. I think that a cool answer would be like, oh, I would love to like up my meditation practice, but like, bro, I got so many kids. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not realistic.
No, that's the cool answer. Honestly,
yes, it is. I would love to continue. I think for me, working recovery, finishing the 12 steps that I'm working on currently would be a fantastic goal for my mental health.
Yeah. You working your steps right now pretty hard?
No, but I need to tap back in because I'm fucking really mad at everybody. So yes, I should be. So I think that would be a good goal for the next year. And in terms of golf, man, I'm trying to touch that single digit handicap, but I'm not that good yet. And even my like 10-6 or whatever it's at, like I'm taking gimmies, man. I'm taking fucking breakfast balls. Like, it's not really real. Because then you go out to like
handicaps are a construct,
right?
we just play like lenient golf rules, and the ball really is plugging up here like most of the year. So like the winter rules are real, but then all of a sudden you're like, well, if I moved it like 6 more inches over from my allotted 6 inches, like I'd actually be able to maybe get to the, we just finesse the shit, man. Like I'm a trash golfer. I'm finessing. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Like I'm just doing the best I can. But all of a sudden I have this handicap that's definitely better than I actually am. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm playing to probably more like, who knows what. But I would still, there's been moments of my golf career where I'm like, bro, if I could just like, if I just would have made those 2 putts, I'm back in the 70s. If I do it a couple times, if I just touch that 9, be a 9-9, I don't care. But if I could get down there, that would be something. I would love to do that. Last time I said this out loud, I was doing a photo shoot for Men's Health, which was a very comical experience.
Lit
on every level. But I went out with like a golf trainer who's like a dude in the industry. And he was like, what are your goals or whatever? And I was like, I'm trying to get to a single digit by the end of the summer. And he was like, this summer? But like wasn't like, but was like dead ass, just like, yo, you have a long way to go. So, you got to set those goals though. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
He's like, you see that with that midsection? Like
exactly what it was.
Thickening middle. You know what I love about the handicap system though is that like it's your potential. It's not like what your average is. It's it's who are you on your good day. And I feel like that is such a weird, like for golf, that's such a weirdly optimistic way to score the game.
Completely. The handicap system is crazy. And people don't really understand that. I'm like, yo, I don't shoot fucking 10 strokes over every time I play. Like if I do that, like I balled out of control. Have I done it a good handful of times? Absolutely. And have I also taken some gimmies from the homies? Absolutely.
Of course. But of course.
Absolutely.
Man.
Drew, you take it away for the last one.
Well, I didn't have a meat and potatoes question. I was actually more so curious as you're in the album grind mode or have been for a while. Has your love and grinding with golf, has that had any sort of impact or affected the way that you've approached your music?
Well, I think one way to answer that question is yes, because I don't want to be in the studio as much as I used to want to be. But I think also like part of it goes back to like what you were saying about Wayne and how he squoze or whatever. Like I've been rapping since I was 15 years old. Like that's a really long time to be writing raps. Like there's days where I'm like, and I've rhymed I've been rhyming for fucking ever. I've rhymed all the words. All the fucking words have been rhymed. Like, you know,
Dr.
I can
Seuss.
immediately go through the fucking mental Rolodex of what rhymes with what. Like I know what words are immediately like get you backed into a corner. You know, like, and there's days where I'm writing and I'm like, I can't believe I'm still doing this shit. Like this is crazy that I'm still rhyming words. Like, and it's been so long. Like, and I still really enjoy it. I still really do. But like, it's not the same. It's not. You look at the fucking greats. Like everyone slows down at a certain extent. Like, you know what Andre has said about hip hop makes hella sense to me in terms of where he's at in his career. And he's like, this is like a young dude's game. Like even like where hip hop comes from, like the hip young cat, like that's where this is derivative from. Like, and you hit a certain point. It's like, I'm not youth culture anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I got 3 kids. My dog just got neutered. Like that's some grown man shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had the foresight to get that motherfucker's balls chopped off. Like,
poor guy.
Yeah, I scheduled it, you know?
Yeah.
So like, then I think about, you know, and then you look at like what's popping on the fucking internet and, you know, whatnot. And like, at times I'm like, yo, am I like turning into that, like, you know, that bitter guy that's like, man, but you don't remember what it was like in the 90s, you know, whatever. And like, I never want to be that dude. Like I listened to a lot of shit that came out fucking yesterday, but I do think that, I don't know, there's something, and I'm forgetting your question, but like, oh, the golf in the studio. I do think that there's some sort of pivot that is naturally happening and going to happen. And I feel really lucky that I found something that I'm super passionate about right now. And that's Bogey Boys, and that's the game. And everything that I can do with both of it that is like a natural pivot where it's not like all of a sudden, you know, you get cut from the team and you're like, fuck, now I gotta like sell real estate, I guess, like, or whatever, you know. In no shade, I got a lot of homies that played in the league that sell real estate right now, or like, you know,
oh hell yeah,
like that's great, but like they're not passionate about that. They're just like, oh, what do I do?
Right.
You know, what's the pivot? And I think that the pivot for me has been happening slowly, and so who knows what's what. You know, I still feel young. You know, that's why I was like, I identify with the 17-year-old. I still feel like that motherfucker. But in terms of your actual question, I think that at times in the studio, I'm just like, damn, like it's fucking 57 degrees outside and it's kind of sunny. Damn.
Let's get out there.
Like
3 holes.
right now.
3 holes. Yeah, 3 quick ones.
3 holes.
Yeah.
Just 3.
I guess let's end it here. Ben, you're a wordsmith. What are 1 or 2 words that you would use to describe this session that we have spent together?
Oh man, I'm not a wordsmith. I learned a word tonight.
True.
I forgot it.
That's huge.
With the E.
Impart.
Impart. Is it I?
It's an
I.
Fuck, see, I can't even spell. Could never spell. I mean, I don't know about a couple words, but I will say that it has been very nice.
Very nice.
It's very nice talking with you guys, and you're good people. And that was the vibe. That's why I wanted to do the show. I'm like, these guys just seem like good people. It seems like a great foursome. Seems like
hope we can make it happen.
I would like to play golf with, you know, and so I don't know. I think whenever you get to talk about the quests, the process, the intricacies of this, you know, human experience, these finite little moments of time that we get to spend together, I think there's something about the therapeutic value of one golfer to another, getting to share their experience, that I find very fascinating. This is a lot more than 2 words. You know, like when you meet a golfer and you're like, yo, and you just start talking about golf. And I'm like, you know, oh, I'm working on, you know, like with your wrist when you come down and you got to come from the inside and, you know, I'm trying to compress the ball. And you go back and forth and you just tell like what you're working on, or like, you know, what you did last round, or like you were on 18 and you were about to break 85, or, you know, you never had, and then you 3-putt, you know, all of those things. I think that this has been therapeutic. And, you know, sorry to take like, you know, the name of the podcast and add a couple more syllables and flip it, but like it's been therapeutic. It's therapeutic to talk about life with some other men, with some boys, with some fucking boys.
Yeah.
No, but with anybody, Bogey, anybody, that's down to go there and unpack the shit. So I commend you guys for doing some shit where people can get honest and tell their truth. Because when you get honest and you get vulnerable, it opens up other people to be honest and vulnerable, and that shit is contagious.
Well said. Thank you, Ben.
Crying.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We're
Thank you.
crying in the club.
And we'll
Thank
play
you for
one
your
day.
time.
Are you guys all in LA?
I wish.
Hell no?
Dude, we've met in person 2 times.
How did you guys start this?
Instagram.
Yeah, we met through IG basically. The golf Instagram algorithm put us together.
Drew is the catalyst though. Drew saw a podcast in our relationship before we did. And Drew saw it all the way through. Drew is the one that put us on a group text. Drew is the one that suggested Instagram Live. Like,
yeah, this started as an Instagram Live. We did like 6 episodes, and then we're like, this is way too hard.
The public was clamoring for it.
All 13 publics.
Yeah.
But there's no blueprint. We're just trying to have conversations that mean something to us, and hopefully a couple other people too.
Yeah, no, I love it. I got a lot out of it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank
All
you
right,
guys
I'm
for
gonna
the invite,
stop.
man. I need a hat too.